This is serial light that we left will not burn out. Wild to where we run. In the time that we had, it was worth it to know that this is not the end. It's just a part of the puzzle, the piece that is way too. This is not the end. It's just a split in the bond where your feet take a new trail. Catch your breath and pour your life away. No left to fall. Find your new way, just inside. No left to fall. This is not the end. It's just a part of the puzzle, the piece that is way too. This is not the end. It's just a split in the bond where your feet take a new trail. See from your wildest heights, anticipating the fear that you thought you'd abandon, questioning ourselves. But the journey we take wasn't meant to be easy. This is not the end.
Why intensely sends it to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Barr Visual FTF Cup Series.
Into the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag.
Here comes Vargas down on the 8 bar. They are 5 wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they're going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas.
Get your foot there. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it.
Canvas is in.
The second race of the round of 8 in the 2023 Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series playoffs brings us out west to the Phoenix International Raceway for the Polish Victory Lap 300K. Live from the aforementioned virtual Phoenix International Raceway. Sean Butler here, Caleb Hoffman alongside, and fortunately for us, Zach Johnson is here pushing the buttons for us in the truck. He's in a lot better mood today, so that's very good to see. But Caleb, we're getting ready to grid here. We're actually gridding now, so these guys lining up on the grid. If today's Cup race was any indication, this could get pretty wild, as it usually does at Phoenix. 7, 8, 9 wide in the dog leg. So you think we're expecting the same craziness here as we saw in previous races this weekend here?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a big point of contention, basically, on whether grass should be put in here. The ongoing track limits debates that we've been having. I expect everybody here to use all of that track surface here tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, we will see a lot of crazy moves being made here, especially for drivers just on the outside looking in for the point standings as we head to the second to last race of the round of 8. We got one more after this, and then the series finale at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old version, not the new version, the old version, or I like to say the good version. That's just me. 2 pace laps here with this field tonight. We're going to make our way. I got to get used to this. This is the backstretch here going into turn number 3. And for those of you that have been following the season very closely and are used to seeing that number 11 car up front, Parker White is your pole sitter. Alongside him, Kevin King, Michael Frisch, Kevin McAdams will make up row 2. Daniel Falkenham, Travis Beckner, good qualifying run in row 3. Matthews Wack, Sander Nyhoff in row number 4. And Seth Knoll and Brandon Hawken will round out your top 10. We'll go ahead and just scroll on through here. We'll let you guys look at the starting grid. We're going to be coming to the green here in just a moment. But the big news here, Caleb, is the guys outside of the point stand is Kevin King, Wyatt Tinsley, Brandon Hawken, Michael Frisch on the outside looking in. Pretty much a must-win situation for Frisch here. What does he have to do to ensure that happens just before we go green?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is just going to be trying to get through this race, I think, is your biggest prerogative if you're Michael P. Frisch. You're down way too many points. Stage points aren't really going to equate at all for it. Just keep your nose clean. Put yourself in a good spot for the end of the race, and good things will happen for that number 58 machine.
So we'll bring our way down into turn number 3. Michael Frisch, the aforementioned driver, sitting P3 right there. Got himself up front in qualifying. We'll see if he can keep it there. Green flag is out, and we are racing at Phoenix. Already looked 4 wide there, 3 wide into turn 3. Frisch gets to the outside of Parker White. Trouble at turn 3. Seth Knoll is around, and the caution is out. That's turn 1. I'm going to get used to that. But right away, Seth Knoll finds himself tail first into the wall. Also, Isaac Johnson looks like he's involved there. The car to the left side of your screen going into pit road, the 33. So didn't waste any time, Caleb. We are not even halfway through lap 1, and the yellow is already out.
Yeah, no, not at all. You're going to see it here. This restart especially. I mean, already seeing everybody go 6, 7 wide. It looks like Kolnick's there just sending it in, and Seth Knoll will get in the tail end of it.
I don't know what happened to Isaac Johnson there, too. He was involved there. Didn't look like Seth really hit anything. So we'll get another look. That's Alex Kolnick, as you mentioned there. Just a little overzealous there on lap 1, turn 1, and just pretty much took him out. Not really that much to that. And Alex Kolnick is going to get a drive-through penalty for causing that wreck on lap 1. So if you guys are familiar with our broadcast the last couple weeks, the admin's being very, very aggressive on these penalties. We'll take a look. I think this is from Isaac Johnson's point of view. There's the wreck happening. He will take evasive action here. Maybe just too sharp of a maneuver onto the apron there. Got himself a little loose. Back end goes out. And does a good job locking it up there. Didn't drift onto the track. Didn't really spin too much. All he'll worry about is the tires on that car being a little bit hot, but we'll cool him down under this caution. So lap 1, Caleb, definitely, I don't want to say par for the course as it's been for the weekends, but as I was mentioning, the admins, I think, are doing a lot better job of, making sure that wrecks that don't need to happen have a stiffer penalty. In case in point there with Kolnick's receiving a drive-through.
Absolutely, and I mean, a lot of the times here, it's a long race, 185 laps, and we were just talking about it with Frisch. You just got to settle in here, and I mean, you can see already trying to send it down into turn number 1. I get it, because passing is at sort of a premium here with this car track combination. You got to make up as much ground as you can get, but you have plenty of time to do that, and just over aggressive moves like that put not only you in danger but everybody else around you.
Absolutely. So we're working on first caution of the race. We should be getting the 1 to go signal from the flag stand this time by, so we will rack him up again and give it another shot, I guess, for the actual start of this race. Parker White, your leader. Kevin King is being shown in, not second, but he's in third. I got to update my scoring. There it is. Daniel Falkingham is in second. Kevin King third. Michael Frisch fourth. Kevin McAdams starting 5th, Travis Beckner 6th, Matthews Wax 7th, Sander Nyhoff 8th, Brandon Hawken 9th, and Nick Miller will round out your top 10. Pace car will duck off. Single file restarts as we saw last week at Martinsville. Parker White not going up by the wall there. He's keeping that car right in the middle of the racetrack, making sure nobody jumps out of line behind them. Again, it is a penalty if you change lanes on a restart here in FTF. Into turn 3, slow and steady, 55 miles per hour pace speed. Parker White will lead him back to the green. Geiger restart zone. Green flag is back out. Let's see if we can make it a full lap this time as the field works their way down the front stretch into the dogleg.
Cutting it close there is Parker White, and you see he's trying to use all that real estate he's given down in turn number 1. And again, just got to get settled down here. Everybody looks like throughout the field.
A little bit side by side there. Looks like Jack Mason, Blake Reynolds side by side just ahead of them. Brandon Hawken, Nick Miller side by side. So a little bit of a pack here as we finally complete a lap under green as they make their way through the dog leg into turn 1. So we're going to see this a lot. Guys trying to make that bottom lane, very bottom lane in the dog leg work. We may even see this middle to high lane in turns 1 and 2 be the passing lanes as Blake Reynolds makes an aggressive move underneath Nick Miller. That is for 10th. And Blake is going to get that position 3 wide behind him. Jack Mace goes way up the racetrack. Matt Spalding is in the 45 car this week for Lucas Plussel. He's going to lose a couple of spots. Oh, and the Josh Chin gets hit by Cosmin Yonoshu in the dog leg. They keep it straight somehow. I am not sure how in the world they didn't crash that, but I think that was just Chin hitting that bumper, the transition into the apron a little too aggressively there.
And we saw that in the Xfinity race yesterday. I forget who it was. It was one of the Ryan Sieg cars hit that transition and just destroyed the wall. And again, like you said, not sure how Josh Chin and co. didn't do it there that time.
It's going to be the same thing in these cars as well. If you hit that transition, I don't want to say just right, it'll very much upset that car, especially if you get the rear diffuser on it. A little bit further up here, this is Sander Nyhoff and Matthew Zwack going at it. This is for 7th. Brandon Hawken there. Another playoff driver. He is there. Again, the playoff driver is indicated by the red window graphic, front splitter. The shark fin, I guess, has that a little bit that you can see in the rear spoiler are in red. So those how you can tell. And of course, if you look on the left side of your screen, the yellow names on our ticker will indicate that as well. So single file pretty much through the first half of the field. Got to go back a little bit further. As I say that, Spencer Ray dives underneath Nick Miller right here. So this is for the 11th position, a little further back to where we're looking. There we go. But I'm not able to make it done, or make the move done, as I should say. And a little further back here, Caleb, Michael Guest. We say it all the time with Guest. He is slowly making his way up through the field in that white number 9 car. Started back in 23rd, already being shown in P15.
Yeah, on the move for sure. And one of the things I've had my eye on here is Michael Guest right on the cusp of that line to advance into to Atlanta. And right now, the guy in 5th, Kevin King, is sitting pretty right now in 3rd. Going to be something to hopefully keep our eye on as this race develops.
Yeah, we will definitely keep an eye on where everybody is as this race goes along. Riding on board with Michael Guest right now, looking up ahead to Matt Spalding. And everybody going to be pretty much driving the same lines here as we go through the corners. We'll see what Guest does. Dives not too far under the apron as you see the Spalding gets a little loose coming out of the dog leg. So a little bit treacherous part of the racetrack that is. Not really sure what those banking transitions will do to the car. You see Guest gets a little loose off of turn 2 there. But he's able to make the pass onto Spalding. Spalding tries to come back onto the outside, but Guest is going to slot into P14. And as Trisha says in our Twitch chat, we are paying attention to that. Guest is going, as he usually does, and he is definitely making his case to get up to the front in this one.
And been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. You see, crawled up to 14th, trying to get to Rocky Boyd right in front of him. And looking good right now for Michael Guest. Has a little bit of a buffer, but some stage points definitely wouldn't hurt him. As you see Nick Miller up out of the groove, coming to the start-finish line.
Been a
Off
rough
the
go
pace,
of it
not
for
sure
Nick
if he made
so
contact
far.
with the wall.
Might have, but he's just looked uncomfortable in that 19 so far to start this thing. As you said, it's a really long race, but definitely not the start Nick was looking for as he continues to slide back. Was all the way up in as far as 10th, and now he's slipping back all the way to 22nd. And he's got Jordan Worth closing in on him. So Nick slowly drifting back. Not sure if this is a fuel strategy or not for the stage. We'll see. But Jordan Worth all over the rear bumper of that 19, and it might look like he has a problem or something. He might be coming into the pit road early on.
Yeah, I don't think he would be going that low to try and pass, and he will be coming to the pit lane. So not sure what's going on with Nick, but some troubles early for sure.
Back up front, Parker White. Again, the common theme this season, 13 wins on the year, more than any driver in FTF Cup Series history. And if you guys are familiar with this league, it goes back quite a ways, all the way back to NASCAR Racing 2003. Some very prominent drivers have made their way through this league. And by far, Parker White has had the best season out of all of them. And we will see if he can cap his season off with a championship at Atlanta. Again, he won last week at Martinsville, locked himself into the championship 4, and we're going to see just who else is able to lock themselves in this week. There's Matthew Zwack in the iconic Verizon Wireless Toyota. Under a lot of pressure from Blake Reynolds here. This is for 8th on track.
And written C by his name in yellow on the ticker, one of those playoff drivers, and he's in a little bit of a precarious spot. Has a very good points buffer, 45 to the good coming into tonight, but definitely wouldn't hurt to win and just, get that extra bit of security, verification that you will be fighting for a championship, and hopefully try to focus on Atlanta.
And Blake Reynolds, it seems like he's there every single year. He had that famous battle in the 2021 championship between himself, Kevin King, and Tyler Gary. Coming down to the wire, Gary was able to win that one in a fuel mileage race, and Blake Reynolds was chasing him down. Michael Frisch had an alternate pit stop. He was the other driver in the championship for that year. But Blake Reynolds would love to cap this season off with a championship. First season outside of his Coke Series career, and he will definitely be one of the ones to watch if he's able to lock himself in. Again, if you're just joining us, we are just started here at Phoenix, have not missed much. Working lap number 20 of the 185 lap distance. That'll make up the 300 kilometer distance here at Phoenix. So championship point standings, if we can hastily throw that little tiny graphic up there, Zach, just to get everyone updated. There you see where we're at right now. Parker White already has advanced with his win last week at Martinsville. Daniel Falkenham, I don't want to say he's really locked in, you never know, but he's looking good heading into the final couple races. As we mentioned, Blake Reynolds on your screen there, Michael Guest just above the cut line. And realistically, Caleb, Kevin King has a good shot to get in. Wyatt Tinsley is not here tonight, so he is theoretically eliminated from competition. Wyatt has been very strong all year. Pretty much, I would say, must-win situations this week and next week for Brandon Hawken and Michael Frisch.
And Kevin King, it's been one of the big storylines of the year, has yet to go to victory lane. His number 88 has been there twice at Bristol Dirt and then the Chicago Street Course, but the driver himself, Kevin King, not been to victory lane. The defending Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series champion had 4 wins last year and has just been waiting and biding his time. He's been super consistent, just hasn't punched his ticket just yet, and who knows, today might be the day, coming off of a 3rd place at Homestead and then 2nd to Parker White last week at Martinsville.
Kevin King, one of the most consistent drivers in the field by far. So, if you're a betting man, if we had gambling on iRacing FTF races, if you put Kevin King for a top 5, you're going to win some money on that if that was a thing. But definitely a familiar sight with that 88 up at the front. And another guy, as we were mentioning, just behind him, Michael Frisch, desperately needs a win. You saw he was 202 points out from the cut line. So we were saying just a bit ago, it is pretty much a must-win situation for him coming into this race. He finally qualified for a race. He usually likes to come from the back, but he had a good showing in qualifying today, put himself in the top 5, and he's sitting pretty in 4th.
And Frisch, another one of those drivers that could desperately use a win and just has not been able to get into victory lane season. I mean, and Frisch knows how to get it done. He sits just outside the top 10 in the all-time Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series wins list. I believe he had one win last year and then has just not been able to get it done again this year. He's had speed, been running up inside the top 5, and would definitely go a long way for him here. You know, you don't have to go into Auto Club next week, you know, wondering if you're going to advance or not.
Former FTF 500 champion is Michael Frisch, so he's looking to rebound here. So pretty quiet around the track right now. Not a whole lot of side-by-side battles. There's one a little bit further back. Sebastian Marin just overtook Matt Spalding for 15th. And I'm just kind of gazing around and kind of like how these long runs typically go. I mean, we do have a little bit of a pack here for 19th. Cosmin Yanashu, Jonathan Oshalim, and Alex Kolonix all running under a blanket. Jonathan Oates and Jordan Worth side by side behind them. As this is pretty much the closest racing we have. So it's looking like, Caleb, we're going to have one of the world famous FTF green flag runs if we're not careful for this thing. So, and also for those of you just joining us, the stages for tonight, lap 50, lap 100, and lap 185. So these guys should be able to make it on a fuel stint on the first stage. I think we should be good for all of them, but nonetheless, it's going to involve some type of strategy here because this thing definitely has a long green flag feel to it.
Absolutely, and it would be nice to have one of these races so close to the end of the year where you're just sitting in here and facing everything that comes your way, real-time green flag racing all day. Here's Alex Kolonix. Got a nice little onboard with him, looking out of the rear of that machine and shaking the camera with the steering inputs here.
Definitely got to be on it with that. So you can see just how much concentration Alex will put into these races. He provides us with the webcam every week, so we appreciate him for that. James Pike was very excited when we talked to him last week because he uses the same microphone as James Pike does on his Flow Racing broadcast, so he was very excited about that. But Kolonix, you see the focus on his face, got that drive-through penalty earlier for causing the lap 1 caution. So if you want to get a drive-through penalty, I guess you want to do it on the first lap of the race, so you got some time to make it up. But definitely not how he wanted this race to go. But so far, he's looking good. If he's one caution away from getting back on the lead lap, back in contention of this thing. But a bit further back, I think Josh Stoltz is in some trouble.
One car off the track.
There is Stoltz in the 43 car, very slow, going into turn 1. It looks like he's got it back going. We'll see if we can get a replay to see what happened to him. But it doesn't look like there's very much damage on the 43.
I saw a little bit of smoke, wondering maybe if it was just a spin or something like that. We'll get a look here.
Oh.
Just hits that transition again.
Yep.
Locks it down. Close call.
No caution for that. We stay green, 1 car. Able to get it back going. But yeah, you saw that transition. If you hit it wrong, I'm going to say, that is what will happen. So if these guys are going to use that transition from the racing surface to the apron of the dog leg, they have to be aware of that. And we've seen that in NIS races this week. Again, NIS is full distance this week here at Phoenix, and some guys are just sleeping a little bit. They hit the dog leg, and next thing they know, their car is they're in for a rodeo, to say the absolute least, with the rear end going up and down there. So he's able to keep it going. There's Jonathan Oates not using the apron. I think that's a better decision there, Caleb, because 1, you kind of save the bottom of the car for potentially getting damaged. And 2, I just think it's the smoother transition there is better for the tires.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but you stay on the, I guess, designated track surface. Don't go all the way down to that paved area in the dog leg, and it sets you up for a way better arc through turns, what is now 1 and 2. Just overall, I mean, if you're in desperation mode, 2 laps to go, maybe it's a different story. But right now, at lap 34 of 185, I think it is absolutely a better decision to just stay up there on the designated track.
Were you saying earlier about putting grass down there? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, honestly.
I saw it floating around the Twitterverse.
Of course. Everyone has some crazy stuff. Cosman is using the transition there. He's looking to the inside. Again, that is Josh Chin, who had an earlier excursion through that aforementioned dogleg transition, so he's able to make the pass there. Jonathan Oates trying to follow him through. Here's Matthew Zwack and company up here. There's, I believe we got Travis Beckner up there, Brandon Hawkin leading this group, Rocky Boyd at the tail end of this 4-car group here. So race is getting a little bit closer up towards the front. This is all for, I believe, the 8th position.
You see Hawkin going up just a little further. Matthew Zwack not really in the tire tracks there, but they all come together now on the back stretch. Look at this move from Rocky Boyd.
Aggressive move there to the inside of Travis Beckner. That's for 10th. But we're going to see in this race which line will prevail over the long run, as they're still side by side just behind Zwack. Boyd to the inside. He's going to make the pass, so move Rocky Boyd up into the top 10.
And one of the very interesting things about Phoenix here is you see Matthew Zwack now down underneath Brandon Hawkin. Going to have to get at that throttle a little earlier, maybe try to set himself up better for the exit. Might even let Rocky Boyd into this battle, but I mean, you can see through the intervals on the ticker, we are not spread apart at all, and it's one of the fun characteristics about this racetrack.
And it's only going to get closer. There you see Michael Guest has joined this group back there, that white number 9 Toyota on the high side. He's making his presence felt there. Got the 146, that's Timu Toika behind him, as here comes Boyd to the inside of Zwack, making contact a little bit as he enters turns 3 and 4. Zwack going to have the drive off. That would have been a heck of a finish if that was coming to the checkered, but still side by side. Boyd's going to use the dog leg there, and they're going to even out again going into turn 1. I'm going to say turn 3 at least 5 times tonight over there. But look at Travis Beckner. I don't know if he got in the wall there, if he's running that high by design, but he's going to lose a few spots.
You can see underneath Michael Guest here, and we were talking about Guest.
Man.
Look at the 99 of Hawkin here, way loose.
Brandon Hawkin is struggling for grip in that number 99 next to C Sports Chevrolet. Not really sure. Might have just driven the rear tires off it already. We're lap 40, so the tires are going to start to go very, very quickly. So we'll see. Looking on board from Brandon Hawkin. Let's see if he's struggling for grip here as he enters turn number 3. See the back end, it's just sliding out of the corner there. Really doesn't look like it from on our onboard here, but from the inside of that cockpit, you could definitely feel in the force feedback the rear tires slipping through. So Hawkin might have to dial it back a little bit. As you see, it's just all over the place through turns 1 and 2.
And you can see Collins here, Spencer Ray as well. Both of them now down to the inside of Hawkin, and
oh man,
it's just getting worse for Brandon Hawkin. He has to hold on. I was hoping he would get some semblance of stage points here, because you know he needs them. Oh, one car. Spencer Ray's going to spin up across the track.
Spencer Ray looks like he hit the transition, came right back across the racetrack, and Jonathan Oates had absolutely nowhere to go. There you see Oates making his way towards Spencer Ray's car. Ray's going to tow it back to the pits, and caution is out for the second time here at Phoenix. That is definitely not ideal just before the point of no return for the stage. Let's see what the heck happened. And Caleb, I'm going to guess our transition got us again, and sure enough, it does.
Yep, just hits that transition. Oh man, that is a hard hit.
It's Matt Spalding there that was involved in that as well. Tough break for those 3 drivers. Let's take another look on board with Spencer Ray. Hits the transition, and that just has no chance to react in time for that. Almost got a corral, but then it just comes back on the track, right up in front of traffic, and nowhere for Spalding or Oates to go. So working caution number 2 here at Phoenix. Pit road is busy, and we will update everybody on the results of our pit stops when we come back. Break number 1 here at Phoenix. You're watching FTF GG. Don't go anywhere. Back at Phoenix for race number 2 of the round of 8 of the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series, the Polish Victory Lap 300K, live here on FTF GG. Sean Butler, Caleb Hoffman, Zach Johnson here, bringing you all the action. Working caution number 2 for a spin by Spencer Ray, collecting 2 other drivers outside of the dogleg. Pit stops just happened. Parker White, Kevin King, Kevin McAdams, your top 3. And of course, Kevin and Kevin running alongside each other once again. They seem to do that for an extended period of time every week. I'm not going to confuse them and call them the wrong drivers again. That's not going to happen, I assure you. But here we go. Parker White pretty much has led from the opening tip of this thing. He's looking to continue that streak. But Kevin King was reeling him in a little bit at the end of this run. Green flag is back out, and more importantly, Caleb, 4 laps remaining now in stage 1.
Absolutely. These points would go such a long way for Kevin King, but he's going to have to not only not get up to Parker White, but fight off Kevin McAdams here, who dives down to the inside trying to take second place away.
Kevin McAdams is just strangely fast at Phoenix. It seems like every year. Was on the pole for a bit in qualifying before Parker White got him, but there is a lot of speed in that 26 car. Daniel Falkenham, speaking of speed, he's been very fast all year. One of our playoff drivers. Haven't talked about him a lot yet. Side by side with McAdams for 3rd. Parker White trying to put a little bit more distance on the field as they work through 1 and 2.
Absolutely getting worse for Hawken, but up front, Kevin McAdams now under attack from Daniel Falkingham is trying to move into the 3rd spot. Can Falkingham move past Kevin King for 2nd, coming to 2 laps to go in stage 1?
Still side by side between Falkingham and McAdams. 2 laps to go in stage 1. Parker White pulling away from Kevin King. It looks like they all graze the wall there a little bit, but that is just the line they run. They get very close to it. How about Rocky Boyd in that 16 car? He's working up through this field too. He's currently sitting in 5th. Matthew Zwack right behind him, and Kevin McAdams just slipping through the field. A little bit of contact between him and Boyd, and here comes Michael Guest to the inside of Matthew Zwack for 6th.
All over each other right now as we're on the last lap of stage number 1. Look at Kevin McAdams here, maybe trying to send it down, get a little bit of action on the back bumper of Falkingham, looks like.
Look at Rocky Boyd making that topside work alongside Daniel Falkingham, looking to get to Kevin King for 2nd. But
Blake Reynolds!
Big slide by Reynolds. He's going to hang on to it somehow. How in the world does he do that? Every week, it seems, he has a fantastic save. Parker White is going to be your stage 1 winner. Kevin King, Daniel Falkingham, Rocky Boyd, Kevin McAdams, Michael Guest, Matthew Zwack, Sebastian Marin, Sander Nyhoff, and Timu Toika will round out your top 10. And they are still going at it for 2nd. Rocky Boyd is not done charging his way through the top 10.
And how about this from Rocky Boyd? Lots of speed out of this machine, and all the way up to 2nd right now is kind of an unreal run for him. Is, not only up to 2nd, but using that high side, it feels like.
By the way, Zach Johnson locked that away. Blake Reynolds save on lap 51. So we can go back and watch it later on here, because I need to see that again. But look at this a little further back. Kevin McAdams still slipping back a little bit. Michael Guest making his way through the top 10. Now works his way into the top 5, passing Kevin McAdams, sporting the Cheddar's restaurant scheme tonight. A little bit of a change up for Kevin in his usual Doritos scheme as he nearly slaps the wall off of turn 2. But maybe hoping that scheme will get him a little bit more luck here. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Cheddar's. I mean, they're a fairly okay restaurant, but Kevin really likes them, I guess, to throw them on the car.
I was about to smack the wall like Cheddar's smacks me every time I try to eat at their establishment.
They smack you when you eat there? Like, they physically assault you when you eat there?
Their food's so bad, they might as well have.
Oh, wow. What an attack. Channeling your inner Keith Lee there, but going into turn number 3, right there with Michael Guest underneath Daniel Falkingham. I'm a big Keith Lee fan, by the way. Love his work. But look at Michael Guest, though. He does this every week. We act surprised every time he does it, but he just makes driving up through this field no matter what track we're at, just looks so easy. I mean, out of all the playoff drivers, he definitely just gives himself the most work to do unnecessarily every week. And I mean, it's not like he doesn't have anything to show for it. He definitely has the results to back it up.
And you can see now, it feels like the top 5 has just been taken over by these playoff drivers all of a sudden. You know, with the exception of Rocky Boyd, who, like you said, has shown a ton of speed. Just got a little gaggle of them right here. And Kevin King trying to hold them all off. Michael Guest has been hard charging.
Might be one of those periods where Kevin King is driving just fast enough to keep everybody behind him and save his tires at the same time. So definitely one of those strategies for Kevin King. We'll see if he can use that to catch back up to Rocky Boyd. But speaking of catching up, I mean, we don't even see Parker White, our leader, in the shot anywhere, and he is just gone from everybody. Currently has a 1.2 second lead over Rocky Boyd. It's then 2 seconds back to Kevin King into this group. So Parker White, again, definitely establishing his dominance as he's done early on in a lot of these races. And Michael Guest trying the outside of Kevin King for second, not quite going to get it done off of turn 2, but just look at how close these cars are from third on back. It's definitely very close quarters racing here.
Yeah, Michael Guest, he's just tried that outside again, trying to channel what Rocky Boyd had a little puff of smoke there on, I guess, was now the front stretch. Still got to get used to that, but again, looking to the outside here and just can't quite get it done. I don't know if that's something that Rocky Boyd specifically has figured out, or maybe that lane's fading away a little bit, because it seems like everybody's preferring this bottom groove right now.
Absolutely. So the bottom lane is going to be your tire's friend for later on in this run. There is a little bit of speed in the middle lanes, as we saw earlier. Usually when you want to pass somebody at this track, the middle lane in 3 and 4, as Michael Guest is demonstrating here, is usually the one for passing, because you get a better run off the corner. But definitely not making it easy as Kevin King in that 88 car. He definitely wants to keep this clean air on the front nose of that Chevy Camaro. But Guest definitely showing a lot of strength outside there. Daniel Falkenham not knowing which way to go. He might go through the middle here, might follow Guest through, but definitely looking for that third position, as these 3 cars haven't even shot at it.
You can see Guest again. Looks like he is going to be side by side with King this time, as we have a caution on the track.
David Cabrera, looks like there is heavy damage to that car in the pits. Not sure if that was the caution, but that is just what I was seeing on our ticker. Nonetheless, we are working caution number 3. Let's get a look and see who it was. It was David Cabrera there in the 31. Hits the wall off of turn 4, then hits the transition, then hits the inside wall, and then hits the outside wall. So he hits everything that you don't want to hit at Phoenix and calls it a night. That is a wreck and a half. Here's another incident here. Blake Reynolds, here's his save. Tried to dive it underneath Michael Guest. And just how in the world did he not hit anything or overcorrect? We've seen these cars be so easy to overcorrect, as Blake Reynolds describes just displays his great driving again. Just more transition incidents. That was Josh Stoltz again. This was the second time that we saw him kind of get in trouble because of that transition. So pit stops well underway again. These guys should be coming in for 4 tires and fuel. And this has been one heck of a race so far, Caleb. I mean, the transition to the dogleg has definitely caught a lot of drivers off guard for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting as well. Just want to touch on that save that we saw to Blake Reynolds. Great driving, obviously, but came at probably the worst time, coming to the checkered flag of stage number 1, and cost him some valuable points. He does have a fair buffer in 45 points coming into tonight, but that can definitely come back and bite him at some point later on in this round.
Josh Chin joins the broadcast very quickly. Josh, I wanted to get your thoughts on the transition from the racetrack to the dog leg on the front stretch. It almost claimed you earlier, and it's claimed a few others. Just how treacherous is it there in that part of the racetrack?
You know, I think it's really fantastic that Phoenix Raceway gave us the opportunity to Darwin ourselves out of the race. I was in a bad spot, and I didn't want to get up in the car above me. I didn't really like going above or below the white line, so I was trying to avoid that, and I got in the spot that it wants to spin the car out. So yeah, I love the transition. Thankfully, it didn't cost me too much. I don't really feel like I have the speed to be up in the top 10, so I'm fine with not being up there right now. I think later in the race I might have that. But yeah, really, really good transition. Love it.
It seems to be the most popular part of the racetrack for everybody. So, I mean, where would you say it is? Because I can't really put my finger on it where it is. It looks like it's anywhere from where the racing surface of the dogleg is to the exit of it. I mean, there's no really one spot where it starts. It just depends on where your splitter and where your diffuser hits.
There's a point, I think it's like right past start finish, where if you hit it, it like almost stalls the diffuser out is the only thing I can think of. Because it never, I can't think of any other car it's done it this badly in. It's like right when you get around probably about here. Yeah, right about this point, if you try and do it there, it'll spin the car.
Well, it's definitely very treacherous. Right before we go green, Josh, how are you feeling about your chances to get a solid finish in this thing? You mentioned you're not where you want to be, but what you got to do to get up there?
I think it'll be okay. I feel like I can get a solid top 10 out of it. I just have to be better about conserving tires. I didn't do a very good job of it the first time. But I feel like I had decent enough pace. I just have to make it work better than Martinsville.
We hear you, Josh. Thanks for talking to us, dude, and go get him. Keep that thing clean.
Good, thank you, guys.
It's Josh Chin driving the iconic number 53 car, formerly driven by Justin Melillo in FTF competition. Now we're going back racing. New faces up at the front here. Blake Reynolds will come out as your leader. Paul Mikolajczyk in that 77 car will be in second, and Isaac Johnson, we saw him with a little bit of trouble earlier on in the race. He'll be shown in third. Green flag is back out, and the front three have 22-lap-old tires, so we'll see how they can make that work. And Isaac Johnson already getting passed by Kevin McAdams and now everybody else.
And it's going to be interesting to watch this unfold on this restart. Everybody just trying to make it through. Look at Kevin McAdams slicing and dicing down the backstretch, trying to get past Mikolajczyk.
Out of turn 4, Kevin McAdams with those fresh tires. Paul Mikolajczyk just stays out of the way. Parker White following McAdams through, and now Blake Reynolds appears to be next on the list as Parker White still side by side with Mikolajczyk. Rocky Boyd just behind him. Michael Guest there as well, and Falkenham and King side by side. So 6 cars under a blanket right here. What a move by Rocky Boyd into turn number 3. Just right in front of Michael Guest, and he's not going to be able to keep it on the bottom, and they're going to be 3 wide off of 4.
Interesting here, and you see Paul all the way up against that wall. Close call between he and Falkingham there.
For the
Swack
lead
now underneath him.
Kevin McAdams passing Blake Reynolds there just at the front of your screen, so move the 26 back up front. Blake Reynolds will fall in to second, Parker White third, and as you were talking about, Caleb, the Rocky Boyd is making life difficult here for Michael Guest on back, but Boyd has shown some pretty good speed so far, so it's definitely going to be tough to get around that 16 tonight.
Absolutely, and see Guest now running Boyd up the track a little, but Boyd just not afraid to use that high side. It's going to come at the disadvantage of wearing out your tires a little bit more, but there is speed to be found in that middle lane, and all these playoff drivers up at the front taking mental note of that.
They are just so close to each other as Kevin King just behind Daniel Falkenham there, hit that transition, and he almost went for a ride back there. He saved it, but he's side by side right now with Sebastian Marin. So Kevin King is awake after that moment there. But now the field has to work their way past Blake Reynolds up here, and it is getting tight. Rocky Boyd getting a little bit too far out of the groove there. Michael Guest is going to make his way underneath, and definitely a stack up from Blake Reynolds, Parker White on back as Falkenham is able to clear Matthews Whack going into one.
Absolutely all over each other still, and always got to make mental note of these playoff drivers around you. Obviously racing for a little bit more than you are at this point, but doesn't mean you don't race them at all. As you see, Rocky Boyd still hanging strong here, trying to get to the outside of Blake Reynolds now, might make it 3 wide.
Attention Ross Chastain today, case in point with that. But
yeah.
But Michael Guest gets by Blake Reynolds. They are 3 wide now for 4th. Rocky Boyd to the outside. Reynolds is going to slot in behind him. Daniel Falkingham to the inside. Matthews Whack just saying, please do not wreck. I'm right here. And it looks like they will make it out of there no problem. But Boyd is working that middle lane very well. He's able to kind of hold guys off there, but looks like that inside is the preferred lane for now, as they start to settle on out here. All happening behind Kevin McAdams. So Kevin, not in the playoffs anymore, had a pretty good season, fell out, I think, in the round of 16 early on, but definitely one of the favorites coming in. And, of course, he's one of the elder statesmen of the league at 31 years of age. And we all know Kevin is one of the favorites coming in, makes the setups every week. And we just love all the work he does in FTF week in and week out. Doesn't get the credit he deserves, I think, for all the work he puts into the setup. So thank you, Kevin, for whatever you do, I guess. But meanwhile, back behind him, Parker White is slowly reeling him in, and he's got Michael Guest kind of reeling him in as well. So a lot of deja vu scenarios working their way back to the front here.
I'm trying to look around the racetrack right now. It's
good luck.
up front, it's definitely not calmed down, but everybody seems to be a little more content just trying to log laps here. You move to the back, and that's where it starts to get a little Animal Planet, with everybody fighting for position and trying to get closer towards this front battle.
There's a small tussle going on back there. Blake Reynolds, Sander Nyhoff. Blake Reynolds is just kind of hanging on for dear life at this point. Again, he's on 32 lap old tires, about 19 laps older than everybody else, and he is going to be slowly flipping his way through the field as he gets a big bump from Brandon Hawken right there. But I was kind of thinking about, the positives and negatives of a strategy that Blake Reynolds and company just did on that caution. They were one of the only 3 cars that stayed out. And yes, you get the track position bump at the restart, but you see, you're just going to slide further and further back. But they do have a potential extra set of tires, and for a guy like Blake Reynolds, who is in the playoffs, who knows, that could make the difference between, making it to the next round and just missing out. So this could be either a 1,000 IQ move by Blake Reynolds or come back to bite him. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
And that's really what a lot of this format incentivizes, is just going out here and, making these high risk, high, potential payoff plays. And like you said, can definitely come back to bite him. You see Brandon Hawken here as well. Hawken on a little bit of a rebound himself, was struggling early on. We saw him visibly loose. Gonna tempt fate a little bit by going down on that transition, but he's now down to the inside of Blake Reynolds, looking to break into the top 10 once again for that 099 machine.
If I'm in this race, I'm staying as far away from that apron as I possibly
100%,
can.
yeah.
I mean, I just don't trust it at all, based on everything I've seen. But I mean, maybe Blake is onto something here a little bit, because who knows, when the tires start to wear out and even out, he could find himself just in good enough position. But he is just one unfortunate banking or transition hit away from throwing that all away, so he's got to be careful as well.
And I mean, I think both of us are in agreement on that. Is just try to stay as far away from this apron as possible, because it's been so treacherous all day. But at the end of the day, there's a reason we're not inside of the race cars themselves, and it seems like the drivers themselves are very comfortable with tempting that line.
Well, as we heard from Josh Chin earlier, he doesn't really seem very comfortable with that transition either, so we're not alone on that. But Michael Frisch trying to make his way up through the field there, as he's, if you look back a little bit, he's trying to make his way by Blake Reynolds. Again, pretty much in a must-win situation for that 58 car. Got the title sponsor on there. Definitely want to make it to the championship for. He's been there in the past. He's come so close to winning the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series championship, and he would like nothing more than to cap off his 2023. Got his pro license this year, and that was my worst nightmare coming to fruition. He has not shut up about it since, and if he wins this championship, he will definitely not shut up about it until the FTF 500 in 2024. So, but nonetheless, he's got some work to do. Currently sitting in 13th, stuck behind Jordan Worth, and he's looking right at Davey Davis riding a lawnmower on the back of Jordan's car. Can we get a roof shot of Frisch's car, Zach? Can we do that to see there it is? Well, you can't really. Yeah, you can kind of see it. There we go. He gets a little closer for us. Look at Davey just having a good old time on the lawnmower on Jordan Worth's car.
Can we call into Frisch and tell him to get right on the bumper, like right now?
I mean, we could drag him up here, but I don't think he would like that very much. Another onboard I would like to try to get, I'm just going to make Zach do a little bit of work here, is I need to get a Brett Pancari setup update. He had his Halloween costume in the shot last time. We're on board with him now, and I think Zach is going to try to get his cam up as he usually provides. There we go. Oh, we got some t-shirts back there for Brett this week. We usually have to ask him what he has in there, but he shifted the camera over. There you see Brett. Ontario native there. He's got I noticed he's got just a whole bunch of DVD and IMAX movies there. So he definitely has one of the cooler collections. Got a lot on the wall there. Got the VR set up. That is a man cave and a half from Brett Pancari. Very, very, very jealous of that setup he has there.
And always fun with the VR headset. See, is that Mikolajic?
That is Paul Mikolajczyk. I don't know why he's got the 77 on the car this week. He drives number 34 in the sim. But this is kind of what I was afraid of with this strategy. So he's on 41 lap old tires now, as we had a pass for the lead while we were looking. Parker White has gotten by Kevin McAdams. But you got to wonder where that puts Blake Reynolds as well. So Mikolajczyk, Reynolds, and company were on the same strategy, and Mikolajczyk is pitting now. So makes you wonder who is going to be able to make it on fuel from this portion here. So coming up to 10 laps to go in stage number 2 in this race. Stage 2 is going to end on lap 100, but I don't know. I just don't see the strategy, the benefits of that strategy playing out besides having an extra set of tires.
And I mean, that could come into play, you know, maybe we get a late race caution, which is, I know, unheard of for the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series, but, you know, I think having that extra set of tires can absolutely come into play at some point at the end of this race, and I like the move.
See, I mean, if they have to pit under green, then they're essentially extremely off cycle from everybody, and who knows, that could be the move to win the race. We'll see. But we're still a ways away, less than 100 laps now from that moment, as we got distinct packs now, as we see Daniel Falkenham trying to make his way underneath Michael Guest. This is the battle for second, and it seems to be these three up at the front at some point every single week. White, Guest, and Falkenham have been the class of the field week in and week out. And not surprising to see that 054 Interstate Batteries Toyota battling for a high position on the track. And another guy that's back at the front a lot there's Kevin King making his way back by Kevin McAdams there. That's for fourth.
And McAdams, we saw him charge, you know, to the lead earlier. Seems to be subsiding here a little bit last few laps, but don't think it should be much concern for him. Again, very long race, just got to get settled into this cycle, and it's been nice to have some long green flag runs here today at Phoenix.
Definitely. So this track is kind of known for that. We'll have our spotty cautions, as this race has proven, but you know, we've had some settling in moments for this. But I mean, the longer the green flag runs go, I think that the benefit goes to Parker White, as nobody has had anything for him on these long runs. He's slowly driven away from this group here. Last time by for Parker White was a 28.803 lap time, and for P2 was a 28.888 for Michael Guest. So that just shows you the difference between first and second, as Falkingham gives it another try to the inside of Guest, but Michael Guest, one of the toughest guys to pass, and he's showing now why that is, as they're coming up to the lap car of Scotty Smith. Looks like he will get out of the way and let these guys battle it out.
And a good move there, and this is some good racing going on between these two. You see Guest again using that middle-ish line here at Phoenix, and Falkingham still all over the back bumper of Guest here. And, you know, Michael Guest, again, we were talking about his surge up through the field early on. Started, I believe, 23rd and has already made his way up to the second position. And look at Kevin King here as well.
Oh.
Might make contact with Guest. I think he does. Pushes him up the racetrack a little bit. Here comes Kevin King.
It looks like we have all the cameras on Daniel Falkingham's car this week. So you saw the door view and now the roof as he gives him a little bump going into turn number 3. And this kind of is what I was thinking with Kevin King. I think Falkingham's bump kind of messed up his entry there to turn 3, kind of caused him to get tighter than he needed to. But he was being very, very just cautious on the opening part of this run to save his tires, and not very many guys better at saving tires and keeping them on the race car better than Kevin King in that 88, and he's showing why here. He might be able to get by Michael Guest with it, because we've seen Guest defend Falkingham's move to the inside and doing a good job against Kevin King right now, but this is all Parker White wants to see on his relative. He's currently supported by a 1.7 second lead back to these guys, so you will not see Parker White in any shot that we show unless it's an onboard from one of these guys. He has driven away once again.
And again,
there it is.
Yeah, you see him all the way up there, and I know it's crazy to think that Parker White is in a league of his own during one of these races, but I mean, what are we at? 12 wins now? I can't even count them all anymore.
Yeah, the official number is 13 after last week, as we touched on at the top of the broadcast. The most by a single driver in FTF Cup Series history, dating back, I believe it's 10 plus years back to NASCAR Racing 2003 when this league first originated. So it is definitely a prestigious record there, as Jordan Worth is trying one of his wacky strategies again. He's coming on to pit road for what I would assume is a scheduled pit stop. So Jordan will slide the number 97 Chevrolet Camaro into his pit stall, and Davey will take a break from mowing the lawn there in the hood of that car for pit stop. As we look back on this gaggle of cars, Kevin McAdams under pressure from Sebastian Marin in that 048, and here comes Falkingham making another shot at Michael Guest.
All the way down. Thought he's going to go a little bit lower, but still all over that transition. You see right underneath him here. Should have a good run off to Michael Guest to kind of combat that shorter line. Going to be side by side still going into 3 and 4 here. Maybe Falkingham gets a spot.
It looked, Falkingham, the rear end came around on him there almost. Guest got a little bit tight off of turn 2, almost slapped the wall. He had to back out of it. And this is allowing Kevin King to drive away. Kevin McAdams maybe didn't know they were 3 wide there for a second. Almost drove it right across the nose of Sebastian Marin. Almost took him and Sander Nyhoff out. So good awareness there by Kevin to realize that. There's Parker. Again, coming off of turn number 4. Lap 100 means the end of stage 2. And Parker White does it again. And everyone else behind him besides Kevin King, all in a pack coming across the line. So Parker White wins the stage. Kevin King, Michael Guest, Daniel Falkingham, Kevin McAdams, Sander Nyhoff, Sebastian Marin, Rocky Boyd, Michael Frisch, and Brandon Hawken are your stage point earners in stage 2. So good job by everybody there, as here comes Sander Nyhoff to the inside of Kevin McAdams. This is for 5th.
And this is another good battle as well, as Kevin continues to fall throughout the top 10 here, and Nyhoff going to have to battle him really hard, going to push him up the track a little bit. don't know if there's going to be much of a run that you get from running that high up this racetrack at Phoenix. But it works out for him.
iRacing. Yeah, I mean, it worked in real life. You saw the race today. People running the apron in 1 and 2. I mean, I don't know how that worked, but it did. But maybe one day we'll get that here. Who knows? But I think green flag pit stops will slowly be starting here as Falkingham might be thinking about making one now, as he is just sliding everywhere. Similar to what we saw with Brandon Hawken earlier. The rear tires might just be tapping out on that 054. Kevin McAdams glanced to the inside there for a second. That allowed Nyhoff to get to the outside. He slaps the wall off of turn 4. Don't look like it affected the car that much, but the handling, Caleb, definitely going away in these cars.
Absolutely, and this run has been so long for these cars that, I mean, you're just not going to have the same amount of grip that you did early on in this run. Gonna use this as an excuse for Zach's favorite graphic, but can we see the track temp right now and just how scorching this place is right now? There you go. Track temp of 109 degrees. It's less than I thought it would be. I thought it would be more towards that 115, 120 range, but still not fun for those tires on this long of a run.
Well, it does get colder in Arizona at this time of the year. Not often, but it does. But that is kind of surprising. I did expect it to be a little bit hotter there as well, as we got some guys towards the rear of the field. Not rear of the field, but further where we're looking, indicating they're coming in. Matthew Zwack is one of the notable ones. There he is, making his way down pit road. And I think this is going to be the indicator that people are going to start making their way down pit road. Ryan Naraki, his league-wide famous early pit entry there. Cosmin Yanashu pitting. Michael Guest is on the apron. He is coming in. So the pit window is open as Guest nearly locks him all the way up. Kevin McAdams dives down pit road behind him.
And 80 laps to go here. Gotta wonder if maybe they're thinking they'll be good to the end. I assume so. It feels like we just did 80 laps, but
you would think. Well, maybe this is where they split him. Oh, it's the 115. Sander all over the place. He hit the transition on the front straightaway to the apron, all out of shape there, and it just screwed up his apron to turn 1 there, but he's able to corral it and keep it going. Good job by him to keep that car going straight. And more guys coming onto pit road. So the pit window is officially open. Cosmin Yanashu is out of his pit stall onto the racetrack. Looks like Rocky Boyd is going to lose a spot to Michael Frisch, and here comes Sander. Those tires are begging for mercy in that 115, and he's going to bring it to pit road after that roller coaster of a previous lap. There he is, bringing it in. You see the 4 car.
Oh, Chris Wetz just spun on the entry of pit road.
Too much rear brake in that 71.
He tapped the wall too. That was
looked like a little bit of right side damage there. So Wetz is going to keep that thing going. Cole Freilich in the 4 car was just on pit road. He is leaving it now. There you see Jordan Worth going to the inside of Michael Frisch back there. There's Daniel Falkenham. And this is for position. Sebastian Marin is flying right now. So Sebastian figured something out on this run, running that middle lane. He's looking to the outside of Falkenham for 3rd.
You can see Jordan Worth as well on some of those newer tires, trying to unlap himself.
Makes it look easy, you know.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you're one of these leaders right now, you watch one of these lap cars fly by and you're like, maybe I want some of that.
Maybe, but the difference is, too, like, if they see that, you could pit later and be like, all right, I'm going to do the same to you, except 10 laps from now.
Absolutely,
so
for us undisciplined racers who have no patience whatsoever.
Well, we'll see. Who knows? I mean, these guys are one caution away from having their race either ruined or saving their race. So it all, you never know what can happen in these things. But there you see the 33. That's Isaac Johnson. He was another one of those drivers that stayed out under our last caution with Blake Reynolds and Paul Mikolajczyk. So he is on definitely fresher tires. He will make his way by the 048 of Sebastian Marin. So I'm looking around the track right now, Caleb, and we had our first group pit, but this second group, it looks like are going to try their best to go as long as they can with this run. And I don't think that's a bad choice. Our leader, Parker White, included in that. So I think as soon as Parker indicates he's pitting, the floodgates are going to open as far as pit road goes.
And again, opening up a 5-second gap like this. I mean, we were talking earlier in the show about how hard it was to form a gap like this at Phoenix, and Parker White, against all odds, has done it again, it looks like. And if he can just keep this car clean to the end of this thing, he's going to be a tough one to beat, as has been the theme of basically the entire season, it feels like.
A record-setting season for Parker White. So unfortunately, wouldn't mean a whole lot if it doesn't get capped off with a championship. But nonetheless, no matter what happens for Parker White this season, arguably the greatest season by an FTF driver in this league's history. Few would have a hard time disagreeing with that. A puff of smoke there on the back straightaway. Not sure where that came from, or the front straightaway, I should say, with this. But no caution. We are staying green, and you see a few of the drivers unlapping themselves from Parker White. And on board Parker. That's the 05 of Scott Rickard ahead of him. The rookie stripes there. Let's go for a lap with Parker, if you don't mind, Zach. We'll see what he's doing.
Yeah, if you would stop the incessant yelling for a bit.
Yeah, I know. He just goes on his tirade there for a while. So, all right, thanks.
And
Never
cut
mind.
it.
He does. Zach went from being in a really good mood at the start of this, he's not said a word on the radio.
It's just typical Zach things.
Typical Zach. Zach doing Zach things. He's had a busy weekend. I will give him that. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, here we go. So, how far does this one go? So, into turn number 1. A little bit of a diamond there for it. Keeps it right on that yellow line. A little bit of a lower exit out to the wall. Into turn 3. So, nothing too crazy from Parker here, just being ultra smooth as he usually is with this car. And I just get nauseous every time I see someone use the dog leg there, but it doesn't look like it's affecting Parker at all. He knows exactly where that transition is. And to answer your question, Trisha, as Caleb did, no, Parker does not yell during the races here, but our producer, Zach Johnson, yells at us all the time, and it's not a fun working
tough working conditions that we're in here.
Yep.
Watching fake racetrack, or might have to.
Jacob Hitz is back in the booth as Caleb Hoffman today. Good to see you.
Oh, man.
Jacob has not yet recovered from the Philadelphia Phillies.
Or the Eagles.
Or the Eagles today, so that is where he is. We've seen a lot of guys, whether it be in the booth or on the track, just skip races to watch college football. So that is...
These things happen.
It happens.
You got to respect the grind, though. I mean, you just watched my driver win a Cup championship 2 hours ago, and I'm here. So,
right.
Jacob, I need you to tighten ship up.
Oh. Through the field here, there's Rocky Boyd. We've been talking about him.
Oh, did Brendan Hawken just spin on pit road?
A lot of smoke there for Hawken. Hawken was one of the guys trying to make it as long as he can go, which I'm a fan of doing. The problem is, everyone still has to pit one more time. I don't think they can make this. Let's see what happened. Rocky Boyd's next to him. It was a late commitment to come to pit road for Hawken. He's got to get it slowed down. He's good. He's fine. He was full lock going into the pits. Brandon Hawken, if you're new to watching an FTF broadcast, Brandon is one of the best road racers that you will see on the surface here. So pretty much any road race FTF goes to, he is a favorite to win. And Brandon Hawken, again, I don't want to say one of the nicest person on iRacing by far. If you go back to the VODs on the FTF YouTube page to a race that he's won, he is just a joy to talk to. So I highly recommend going back going through the history of the FTF series on our YouTube page. So go ahead and look that up. But more pit stops happening. Caleb, Seth Knoll coming in. I think that is Jack Mace in there. Matt Spalding, Brett Pancari is in. A lot of drivers making their way in. So the pit window is officially open, but our leader, Parker White's still out there.
And got a question when he comes in and maybe if he's trying to save a little. He has enough of a gap where he can try basically whatever strategy he wants at this point. I got to think maybe, we noted he's taking that, super conservative, smooth approach here, maybe trying to save those tires, save that fuel, to pit as late as possible, maybe account for some overtime action here at the end?
Maybe. So we don't know. Very few things have gone wrong for Parker this year, let's put it that way. But definitely going to be interesting to see when he comes in for this one. Oh, right in front of Parker White. Was Tyler
classic.
Lannon. Wow. I didn't
Almost
even
had
try for the broadcaster's curse there to just happen.
I know. It's just unbelievable. He's come so close. Perfect timing, but Landon looks like he'll be okay. He gets down onto the pit lane.
In the Ford. Let's see what happens here. So he's pitting clearly here. Similar thing we saw with Brandon Hawken. Oh man, he locked him up a little bit, and that sent him up the track. That's good awareness by him to kind of realize he started moving up the track and let off the brake to let that car roll back down. Let's see it on board from Parker. Oh, wait, the worst part is he's got a car ahead of him. Just comes back up. Wow, that is insane reaction time there by Parker White. 9 drivers out of 10 would have not reacted to that in time. But that is a heck of a job by Parker White. Would have really made a difference because he's locked in anyway, but definitely not how you want to go out in a race. And after that happens, he says, "Yeah, I'd like to pit. I'm done dealing with that." So Parker brings it into the pits, and that'll hand the lead over to Michael Guest, as you see there. And Guest again is not going to be pitting anytime soon. He was involved with one of the first groups to come in and pit. He's currently got 20 laps on his tires. So this first group of pitters, Caleb, Guest, McAdams, Wack, Worth, etc., hoping this strategy pays off.
Absolutely, and still 58 laps to kind of settle things out, but see Guest underneath David L. Brown here. It definitely is shaking things up a little bit. You see Parker White sitting 13th after that pit stop, and he'll find a way to climb back up, but I think right now Michael Guest definitely sitting pretty here, and again hoping to get that win to lock himself into Atlanta.
We are one caution away from flipping this race entirely on its lid, essentially, with the different strategies that are playing out. So just to catch everybody up to speed, the first 8 cars, Michael Guest, Kevin McAdams, Matthew Zwack, Jordan Worth, Timu Toika, Blake Reynolds, Sander Nyhoff, and Josh Chin were all a part of that first round or first group of pit stops. Then you got Daniel Falkingham, who just came in between both group of pit stops. So he's got 12 laps on his tires. There you see him. He is just no man's land right now. No one in or out of frame. Well, there you see he's coming up to a few people now, but he's got a good amount of space to work with. Then to round out the top 10, the 11 of Jonathan Oshelin has 24 laps on his tires. So he was one of the first round or first guys to pit with this one. So this is interesting right now, Caleb. We got we have 3 different strategies essentially out there, and definitely going to be seeing which one pays off is going to be the driving factor of who wins this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and right now you see Falkingham right on that tail end of Josh Chin, and he still definitely has some work to do, but has started for him for sure, getting down underneath that 53 machine. Gotta wonder. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was about to say. Well, I am kind of. I don't know if you're wondering this as well. But for Falkingham, like, because he's like right in the middle, he's still 7 seconds behind Sander Nyhoff. I mean, I don't know. This strategy definitely isn't going to work because, you know, it's not like he's in like a dire need of a win or anything. He's still pretty comfortably into the round of 4. But I mean, you got to think he's still got to pit one more time. So I don't know if that's what you were kind of trying to hint at, Caleb, with this, but I mean, the strategies are definitely one to behold for this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and again, we've mentioned it a few times, but it's very nice to get kind of a strategy race like this late into the playoffs. It really kind of throws a wrench in everything, and again makes it a battle of attrition more so than just if you're able to survive all the chaos that is usually going on.
Big mental game in here as well. So as we see Falkenham make his way into the tail end of a group of cars here, I wanted to kind of give a shout out here for a car design that we've seen. There's Blake Reynolds, by the way, sitting in 6th right now. These are actually battles for position that Daniel Falkenham is coming up on. So Falkenham should slice his way in between all these guys. He throws it into turn 1 there, right behind Reynolds. Should easily pass these guys and make his way further up as we're looking on board from everywhere in Blake Reynolds' car now. Does Blake have all the cameras attached to his car this week as well? Yes, he does. So there's the fender cam, there's the window net cam, as we'll call it. Look at these guys. If we could see the hands in there, just fight these things on the exit of the corners. It seems like it's like that everywhere in this car, but especially here. And we jump back to the roof cam. We have every single portion of these cars covered. So have a little report from admin. Oh my goodness, there's a bumper cam too. But from admin Justin Malillo, he's kind of siding as our, I guess, pseudo pit reporter. Says, expecting Parker White and David Brown to stretch this to the end. All others will probably need to pit. So Justin Malillo being race control and pseudo pit reporter. So thank you for all the work you do, Justin. We literally wouldn't be here without you. So we appreciate it. But I wanted to give a call out, Caleb, to one of the best paint schemes that I've seen on this car in a while. So can we go up to the 84? Zach, stop me if you've heard this before, but Cosman is very good at painting stuff, and that is one of the best, if not the best, Sunoco schemes I've seen in a while. That thing is a literal work of art. So
it's
very
another
good job,
Cosman banger,
as he usually does. So Cosman, don't get me wrong.
Has he ever missed?
He's missed a few times. I mean, it happens.
Oh, hold
to
on.
Everybody.
When has he missed?
He paints my cars, and I give him all the credit in the world. I say, I'm heavily biased in this, but he is the best painter in sim racing. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fantastic ones, but Cosman, I think, is just a step above everybody. He missed once for me, and I hated telling it to him because I think he did it on purpose, because he painted me an 87 car that I was kind of iffy on the base design of, but I think he secretly wanted to use it, and he's using it now for his car in the 87. So I think he did it on purpose, thinking I wouldn't like it, and he was right. But literally everything else that Cosman's painted for me has been spectacular, including this car that he did. So this car is fantastic. There's Cosman just chilling over there in Romania. He's in Romania, but it's very early in the morning over there now. It's what, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning over there now. So he calls himself one of the most American Europeans on the service. The other one is the guy behind Parker White, Timu Toika, over there in Finland. It's very early in the morning there as well. There's Timu. But Timu is one of the best personalities you'll see on the service as well. So back to our scheduled programming, Caleb. I feel like I've been talking for the last 10 minutes. Parker is slicing his way through the field along with Kevin King. They're both up to 5th and 6th, respectively. And here's the strategies coming into play that I was talking about.
Absolutely, and again, like Justin hinted at with these two, as you see Jordan Worth coming onto the pit lane.
Again, why Jordan?
But you see Parker White here. This is very important because Parker White and David L. Brown was the other one where they're expected to try to push this all the way to the end. And the more track position that Parker White makes up right now, the bigger that advantage is going to be when everybody else has to come down and pit here, within the next, what should it be, 30 laps?
Well, we'll see because the other guys definitely have to pit. Zach, I'm curious, can we get a roof cam for Parker or something? I want to see if he's clutching or anything, if he's saving, because it might be close. It doesn't sound like it here. This is on board with Parker. We'll see. But this will tell us if he's not clutching or doing anything at all, he can definitely make it to the end. He is lifting earlier. He is lifting slightly earlier, but he's not clutching. So that says he might be saving a little bit of fuel, might not. But he hinted at that at Martinsville, doing the same thing here. So Parker definitely can make it to the end. And if this thing goes green, I think he might all but have this thing locked, Caleb. We'll see, though.
Yeah, and it's, I think, going to be close for Parker White. But again, even if he does have to clutch a little at the end, the margin that he should have on everybody who has to come down the pit lane should be significant enough where it's not really going to matter all that much if everything plays out as he hopes, of course.
Absolutely. But definitely seeing the strategies now. As you were talking, Caleb, the first round of pit stop people, I phrased that really badly, the people that pitted before everybody, are starting to come in. Kevin McAdams, there you see him making his way onto pit road. A lot of guys coming in. Cosmin Yanishu coming in. Josh Chin coming in. Jonathan Oshalem, Isaac Johnson. So everybody that pit the first round here now coming back in, and they are in danger of losing a lap now to Parker White because they got to make a 4-tire stop and fill this thing up. So I think definitely Parker White with the best strategy call of everybody. He's going to have a humongous lead over everybody, besides Kevin King, of course. But we'll see how that plays out.
Absolutely, and again, with Parker inheriting the lead here, all it does is expands. Did Kevin King just come down the pit lane? He did.
Wow. That is interesting because he is on 4-lap older tires than Parker White, so maybe that is the difference in fuel mileage, that much. Kevin King back on. We assume Parker White is going to stay out as Cole Freilich will make his way onto pit road there in the 4 car, driving for Nate Stewart again. Nate has had to find substitute drivers the last 3 weeks, I think. Zach thinks he spun. Can we confirm this? Let's see. Dives to the apron.
This is an interesting line.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, that thing snapped.
Just taking the pit lane.
Okay, so that's one way to do it.
It worked, didn't it?
It did.
Not very well.
He did it, but that'll cost him a lot of spots. He's currently being shown in 31st, 2 laps down in the 4 car. Nate, if you're watching, look away. Been a rough go of it for the last couple of weeks for number 4 Toyota.
And watching how all this cycles out. I mean, look at it already. I mean, Parker already has almost a 9-second lead. Oh, Brandon Hogg. Oh, no, look at this contact.
That was close.
Is that, I can't tell. Is that, that's definitely Trackhouse font on that car, yeah? Chris Wetz.
I think so. That is Travis Beckner and Art Reimer. That is for position on the racetrack. Art Reimer, a very different looking number 49 car. It's usually purple and green. But
it's an 04, not a 49.
Is he? Oh, yeah, he is in the 04. So a new number for Art. He's ran that number a few times. He's had a couple other drivers in that the iconic number 49. A different looking paint scheme for Art. Not used to seeing him in something that's not purple and green and orange and all types of colors. But while we got a little lull in the action here, we have a little bit of gap between pit stops. We'll take our last break before the end of this thing. Parker White, can he make it 2 in a row, or does somebody else have something for the 011? Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the finish here, live at Phoenix. Back at Phoenix, Brett Pancari has brought the caution flag out. And a little bit before we went to break, I said we were one caution from this thing being flipped on its head, and we got it. Just me right here for now. Just went to break. Caleb went to go make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so he'll be back momentarily. But let's take a look at what happened to Brett Pancari. So we'll see if we can get a replay and find out. There we go. So that's Kevin McAdams. I don't think he has anything to do with this. Brett, oh, he does! He gets just hip checked going into the dog leg. You could tell it's the dog leg because it says dog leg on the wall there. But Kevin maybe thought he was clear. Just comes out of the corner and just side swipes Brett Pancari. So that is not ideal at all. See if you get another look here. I love how Zach has his ATVO set to default to Art Reimer, and he has to choose between everybody now. But gets elusive. Kevin just doesn't know where he is. And I would say that's pretty much it. So we'll see what the officials say. That is the cause of this thing. It does look like there's very much damage to everybody, but nonetheless, that is the aforementioned caution I was talking about. So everybody will be coming onto pit road on the lead lap this time by. Parker will come in, top off, and I don't think fuel mileage is an issue for anybody anymore. So that happened. It was an event that occurred with this one. So definitely an interesting turn of events here for this. Let's see if we can find someone to have a word with that we haven't talked to in a while. Michael P. Frisch, hello?
Hey.
Hey, why are you not winning?
Because I got Parker White in front of me.
Oh, that's true. But you're having a good run, man. You're sitting in P2, but you're 202 points out of the cut line. Time is essentially of the essence here for you. Can we expect any crazy desperation moves to potentially lock you in?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, coming in tonight, the hopes weren't high considering the run we had contender. I was literally dead last the whole entire race, but I don't know. I went into the race and just clicked off laps, and we were up there, and pace was good, and we're hanging with Parker and Kevin there in the first little stint there, and caught a little black flag for speeding, and now we're back up here. So I think as long as I can stay with Parker here on the first couple laps, I'll have a chance here.
So we talked to Josh Chin earlier in the race, and we talked about the transition in the dog leg to the apron that's claimed many drivers tonight. Have you figured out the sweet spot to cutting that and not having to worry about, your race just ending?
Yeah, if you really have to force the car down there, you're in for a ride. But the way you have to take turn 3 is you pretty much back it up. You keep the car low, and the car just kind of steers down there. That way you have a nice smooth transition. You're not yanking your wheel down there, putting a whole bunch of steering into it. So the car is just pretty much already even when it's going over the elevation. So I haven't had any problems with it, really.
Unbelievable. Just get your pro license, and then you just act like you know everything. Unbelievable. Any anything happen at work today? That was crazy.
No, I'm getting yelled at for hitting the apron transition right there.
All right. Well, I'll send you back down there, Frisch. Go get him. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
It's Michael P. Frisch. We're going back racing, by the way. So the reason why everybody was getting yelled at there is the pace car was coming off, and everyone that was a lap down was getting their 1 to go signals. So that happened. We've regained Caleb Hoffman, another peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Is that number 2 for you this evening?
Yes, number 2, and it was delicious while that interview was going on.
Perfect, awesome. I'm glad I bought you some time. But here we go. Parker White back on another great restart for Parker. And we'll see how organized they are going through the world famous Degleg here at Phoenix. So into turn number 1, pretty clean so far. I got my eye on this 16, Caleb, of Rocky Boyd. We saw him be just the fastest car on the short run on the last restart. And I think he's going to want to pick up where he left off, currently sitting in 4th there.
Absolutely, and a refresher for everybody up here with that caution. You get a chance to come down, take tires, get fuel in the car, be good to the end. Just the next 25 laps, go give it everything you've got. And Rocky Boyd, will he test with that middle lane? Looks like everybody's being a lot more aggressive with the lines here with only 25 laps to go at Phoenix.
Yeah, we heard Michael Frisch say he is in a good spot, and if it came down to it, if he had to have some last lap fireworks to get him into victory lane for this race, he will do it. So we will see if it even gets to that point with everybody. Again, they are teammates at North Force Racing here, so maybe there could be some team orders for Parker. I mean, he has 13 wins. He could afford to give one up to get his buddy in to the championship 4. We'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, the field all behind Parker White, as has been the case pretty much all season. Michael Frisch sitting there in 2nd. Back here, Daniel Falkingham has some work to do. Still pretty much, I don't want to say locked in to the championship 4, but he's currently sitting in 2nd, 65 points above the cut line coming into this race. He's got Kevin King right underneath him. Kevin, as you see a little bit further back, car in the wall back there. They keep it going. But Kevin King is not as comfortable in the points right now as Kevin McAdams, causes Falkingham to be a little bit hesitant there at a turn 4, on board with Matthew Zwack, looking ahead to all of this as they work their way through 1 and 2.
And look at Kevin King here pushing Falkingham up the track, going to slice the nose off of Matthew Zwack here. Again, all sorts of dicing going on down this backstretch. Falkingham going to get underneath Kevin McAdams. They're going to be side by side as they get to the stripe. Give that spot to Falkingham. Kevin King in tow right behind him as they go through the Degleg, as Sean Butler calls it.
There you go. So going into turn 1, Kevin King almost bumping Daniel Falkingham by Kevin McAdams there. So that'll move Falkingham up to P10, Kevin King up to 11th, Kevin McAdams back to 12th. And Matthew Zwack just throwing it into turn 3 right there, nearly put the right front fender into the left rear quarter of Kevin McAdams, and that would have been bad. But all of these guys will sort it out. So looking through this field, everybody's still pretty much minding their P's and Q's for right now. As we take a look at this battle here, Parker White still leading. Michael Frisch holding about almost a half a second deficit there.
And again, Frisch going to have a lot of ground to make up here in the last 19 laps if they don't get a caution. Not insurmountable yet, but it's going to be tough to get up to Parker White, who has just flat out dominated this entire race.
Especially on the long run. So nobody has had anything for Parker on the long run. So if you want to pass Parker, you got to get it done quickly and efficiently. As there you see Michael Guest sitting back there. He is sitting back in the 5th position after just getting by Jack Mace. Good run for Jack, by the way. Haven't talked much about him in that 107 car. There he is. Very quiet night, but a very good night for him. Started in 12th, running in 6th for British Motorsports. Again, we've talked about everybody across the globe participating in FTF, and Jack Mace representing the UK here. So good to see Jack. He's had some very good runs lately, been very consistent. And see those rookie stripes on the back of that car. Those will not be there next year. So Jack Mace rounding out a pretty successful first stint for his Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series season.
Absolutely, and Jack Mace has put together, like you said, a solid last few weeks after a very up and down start to his 2023 campaign. Top 5 would be a nice momentum builder, and that's what a lot of these guys who are not in the playoff hunt are fighting for, is just going out there, proving to themselves and everyone around them that, you know, they can get results and build momentum into 2024 is going to be so important for a lot of these guys like Jack Mace.
Definitely good to see Jack putting together some good runs, and I agree wholeheartedly with that, because building momentum for next season is a thing for this. So definitely want to make sure you're doing that. Could lead to some, wins you didn't think would happen next season. Who knows? But looking a little bit further, we got a car going into the pits. I believe that was Chris Wetz. A bit of a struggle for him tonight, being shown in the 36th position, 11 laps down. So definitely not the night Wetz was looking to have. Meanwhile, up towards the front, battle for looks like P11. I don't know why I thought that was Kevin King. That's Rocky Boyd there. Wrong red and white Chevrolet. But Michael Guest reaping up to the back bumper of that 16 car. We mentioned how good Rocky Boyd is on the short runs. Michael Guest, that much better on the long runs, proving it right here.
And again, a heck of a run for Rocky Boyd up here with playoff contenders. Guest really having to fight him for this spot. Boyd very reluctant to give it up. He's going to get that run like we've seen off the middle lane. Doing a heck of a job in that number 16 here tonight. Gets back in front of Michael Guest, and he'll keep that spot.
Definitely been hard to pass, especially as this race has gone along. That's the lap car of Matthew Spalding. I don't know why I was about to say Matthew Zwack there in the 45, but Guest peeking under Rocky Boyd. Boyd's going to pinch him all the way to the apron, and Guest is not going to be very happy about that. So we'll see what Mike does to get around Rocky Boyd, but Boyd channeling his inner Ryan Newman here, being just a menace to everybody trying to pass him.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. The only difference is Ryan Newman was always a lap down when he was making that car 4 lanes wide. Boyd doing a fantastic job of keeping Guest behind him.
To make their way down the backstretch. I still can't. I'm not used to that at all. It just doesn't make any sense with this. I wish they just put this track back to what it was, but it's not my decision.
Nonetheless, a lot of things that were different.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, Guest gets very tight going into the corner, walks up the track a little bit, labels the left side of Rocky Boyd's car a bit. He's going to fall in behind him. So Boyd is just not letting these guys by easily. On board with Guest on the roof cam, and we'll see what he's got planned to try to get by. Does he fake low, go high, goes back to the inside? Throws it into turn 1. Going to try to slide job him here. He will do it. Boyd tries the crossover. Is that going to work? Guest is going to have the run, but Boyd is hanging tough on the low side, making life very difficult for Michael Guest. He's going to throw it into turn 3, wash up the track a little bit, and he'll say, okay, Mike, you're good. You can go. And Guest says, thanks, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah, should have done that 20 laps ago is probably what Michael Guest is thinking.
Yeah, just wanted to give the folks at home a nice show to watch, just
get that TV time.
There you go. That's how you do it. You want to get on the broadcast, make life difficult for the fast guys, I guess. Who knows? Speaking of fast guys, there's the fastest one. Parker White out to a 1.1 second advantage over his teammate Michael Frisch. And the team orders thing I was alluding to earlier, probably not going to happen with this. Parker White well on his way to extending his record-setting win total, 14 potentially coming up for Parker White.
And again, it would just, I mean, emphasize again the level of dominance that we've seen out of him this season. I mean, there have been some races where he's been dominant and collected him in some stuff at the end. New Hampshire comes to mind as one of them. I believe Michigan as well. He was involved in a wreck. You know, this could very easily be in the 15 to 17 range if a few of those races go his way. It just has been absolutely crazy. We've never seen anything like this in the Barr Visuals FTF Cup Series, or even any sort of league like this. I feel like there just hasn't been this level of dominance. There's always, you know, some sort of parity, and a lot of very good drivers have gone winless this season as a result. We've mentioned Frisch, Kevin King are kind of top of that list, where absolutely are you know, drivers who are of that winning caliber just haven't had the opportunities to do it this year, because this guy's been taking them all.
I mean, we joke around with the competition, the level of competition in this league. It's a mini Coke race, as we like to call it. So many eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series drivers make up the talent in this field. Of course, Parker White being one of them. And he's just, I don't want to say just making them look like normal drivers out there, but this whole season, no one's had anything for him, as we have hit 3 laps to go here at Phoenix. Parker White extending his lead, just making more cars go a lap down, and it just seems, if there was post-race tech, I would look at his cars closer than anybody else's every week to try to find something, because there's no way he should be this fast. But week in and week out, he is the guy to beat every single race. 2 laps to go now for Parker, and win number 14 looks like it's definitely on the horizon.
Absolutely, with only 2 laps to go, and laps tick so fast here at Phoenix, and coming off of turn number 2, that's still weird.
Yep.
Parker White, I mean, again, who other than Parker White would go out here, just lead every lap, start to finish, and come home with a win?
White flag in the air here in the desert. 1 lap to go here in the Polish victory lap, 300K. And the man who has taken the most victory laps this season is going to add another trophy to his growing trophy case in FTF. Down the back straightaway into turn number 3, and Parker White makes it 2 in a row. He wins the Polish victory lap, 300K at Phoenix. Michael P. Frisch will come home in second. Sebastian Marin, Michael Guest, Rocky Boyd. How about this finish between David Brown and Sander Nyhoff for P7? That was an interesting one. Looking back here, Cosmin Yanashu for 19th. Heated battle. Cosmin will take that position. Jordan Worth just slams on the brakes in front of somebody. Definitely love when that happens. But Caleb, Parker White, again, win number 14. Just when we think he can't set the bar any higher than what he already has, he goes and does it.
And he'll burn it down, rightfully so. And like you said, just going out and executing. He doesn't even need it at this point. I mean, he's already locked into Atlanta. This is, again, just kind of building on that momentum. And, I mean, it's still going to be a 4-horse race when we go to Atlanta, but still, there is a case to be made that we should just give it to this guy already.
I mean, if we were in the old points format, as there's Parker taking his Polish victory lap, burnout style, so love to see that. If this were the old format, Parker probably would have locked the championship up either now or last week. It's just been that kind of season for him. But definitely taking his Polish victory lap, again, made famous by the late Alan Kowicki. Good tribute to Alan there with, of course, the Polish victory lap. But nonetheless, Parker White doing it Parker White style in the burnout. Not going to take the full one. He's going to go ahead and pull it off onto the apron there, and that'll give us a chance to look at the final results live here at Phoenix. Again, Parker White notching win number 14 on the season. Michael Frisch will bring it home in second. Sebastian Marin, Michael Guest, good run for Rocky Boyd there, gets himself a top 5. Good run for Jack Mace as well. David Brown puts together a great run. Sander Nyhoff will come home in 8th. Travis Beckner, a good run. And Daniel Falkenham, Caleb, will round out our top 10.
Yeah, 11th tonight at the Polish Victory Lap 300K is going to be Kevin King, who had such a strong run early on, kind of faded back there at the end. Brandon Hawken as well, after starting 10th, comes home in the 12th position. Blake Reynolds 13th tonight at Phoenix. Matthew Zwack in the 14th position. Kevin McAdams 15th. Timu Toika 16th. Joshua Chin in the 17th position. Seth Knoll 18th. Jordan Worth, after pitting what felt like a million times there at the end, 19th. And Cosmin Ionescu rounds out your top 20.
Ryan Naraki will come home 21st, or as Jacob likes to call him, Ryan Naraki. I'll say that in his absence. He'll come home 21st. Tyler Landon, after that near catastrophic incident in front of the leader during green flag pit stops, he'll come home 22nd. Jamie Ritchie Price, didn't mention him really at all in this race, but he was thrilled that he made it in the Marcus Ambrose inspired number 009. He will bring it home in 23rd. Go follow him on Twitter/X, by the way. Makes some great, funny videos on iRacing. Scott Rickard, 24th. Brian Sabelski, 25th. Cole Freilich in 26th. Jonathan Oshland, 27th. Isaac Johnson with a couple of incidents in the dog leg in 28th. Paul Mikolajczyk, 29th. And Josh Stoltz will come home in 30th.
And then Alex Kolinick, Scotty Smith, Jeremy Clapper-Newell, Spencer Ray, Art Reimer, Chris Wetz, Matt Spalding, Brett Pancari, Nick Miller, and David Cabrera will round out your field. We got 3 more after Cabrera here, and that's Nick Roten, Jonathan Oates, and Tyler Williams rounding out your field.
And with that, that is your finishing order here. We'll go ahead and jump right into our post-race interview, starting with for the 14th time this season at Parker. I feel like we've asked you pretty much all the questions that we could possibly ask our race winners every week. So I'm going to come at you with something different. What are the odds, or I should say, how much was Frisch begging for you to just lift off and let him win that race?
Well, before that restart, he was like, I'm just going to full throttle you into turn 1 and then what to do with it. But I knew that he needed to win the race, and he wasn't necessarily begging me to let him go. So I was just going to do my thing, and I knew I would have an advantage over him because I think he drove a few of our pack tests for Coke at this track, but he has just driven the B cars so much here for Contender, and obviously I drove this for Coke, and then I helped NFR for Contender, so I kind of got to get like the full experience for both the B car and next gen, so I knew what he was going to kind of drive the car like. And the big difference between the next gen and the B car here is the next gen, you cannot slide the right rear at all in the center of 1 and 2. And I actually forgot about that from Coke. On the first run, I completely just toasted the right rear, and I was like, oh yeah, we need to just back it down on entry, just take it a bit easier. And the way the B car drives, I feel like the rear tires are a lot more planted with that car, and you can kind of send it into turn 1 a bit more than you can with this car. So I knew that I'd have the long run advantage over him. So just making sure I didn't slide the tires and just keep it straight to the end there. But I really wish that would have went green because I had a really good strategy there. That's one thing I do in every single one of these races. I always take the calculator out every caution, see if I can make it on like a 2-stop, 1-stop, whatever. And there was only like five or six of us that were going to make it on that run before that caution came out. So unfortunate the caution came out, but still got the win. So I can't be disappointed with it.
Yeah, we kind of checked in on you during that after that last pit stop. We were kind of wondering what your fuel situation was like. Whether you were kind of clutching it again like you were doing at Martinsville to kind of make it. But you seemed very content that you were going to make it. And I was very surprised. It seemed like Kevin King, who pit 4 laps before you, wasn't able to make it. So were you thinking that far ahead before that last round of pit stops? I'm just going to go as long as I possibly can so I have to worry the least for fuel, because it seemed like that's kind of where you were going.
Well, I mean, just to put it into perspective, before we went green on that super long run, I was saving fuel on the apron, and Justin came on the radio. It's like, hey, you can't pace down there. So that's how early I was looking forward to the end of the race. So yeah, I was like I said, I look at it on every under caution because I just want to be I just want to be on top of the strategy because I know I'm in a good spot. So I might as well just take the strategy that's going to benefit if the race goes long, because the reward if the race goes long is going to be much bigger if you take that strategy than if you don't take the strategy. Like the spot like Guest, Kevin, everyone was in, they had to pit the extra time. And it's not going to give me a bad result if I got trapped like after I pit. Like I think I was all the way back in 13th. So that still would have been a decent day. But yeah, like I said, just stay on top of the strategy every week is what I try to do.
Yeah, Justin was yelling so loud during that period, we heard him up in the booth here, so that's how we knew something was going on with that. But nonetheless, man, like another dominant victory for you. So congratulations again. We got Auto Club coming up. A lot of drivers' favorite track. Well, one of their favorite tracks, especially for this car. How you feeling about it coming up? You one of the ones that kind of ripped the top up there, or what's going to be your strategy going into that?
Yeah, after the contender race last year, that was probably one of the best races I've ever been in, because to this day, the Auto Club is the only track that I joined iRacing basically after V7, so I never got to experience the multi-groove V6. But in contender last year, we actually had to move around the track to search for grip. Like we started the race on the bottom. At the end of the run, I was running the top. So hopefully we can get some dynamic track at Auto Club, and I've always really liked driving that track. So it'll definitely be a fun race next week.
Absolutely. Should be a heck of a race to watch and participate in. Definitely a lot of fun there. But Parker, win number 14, man. You just keep setting the bar higher and higher. So go enjoy it, man. And we'll look forward to seeing you at Auto Club.
All right. Thank you.
That's Parker White, of course, winner once again here at Phoenix. And we'll go ahead, catch up with P2, Michael Frisch. He is caught up with Caleb. Caleb.
Yeah, here with Frisch. And Michael, obviously the point situation's not great, but just zooming in a little bit, how great does it feel to come here and, get so close to a win here tonight?
Oh, it feels great to hang right there with Parker. I mean, we all know Parker has been the talk of the season with over, I don't know how many wins now. He's pretty much Max Verstappen in F1. But he is the person to chase every week. And honestly, this is, like I said when I was in an interview earlier, this track can literally turn into a Walmart parking lot. I don't care with it, but we had the pace with it tonight in next gen. Wish we had it in the B car, but no, it's just big mentality boost going next week or the week after. We got a couple weeks off here, I know that, but yeah, we're in a must-win situation. Which, I mean, anything can happen at this point. It's going to be the final race for the championship 4. I mean, if we come down to it, there's the yellow at 3 to go, and we're on 50 lap old tires. Well, guess what? I'm gonna be staying out there trying to control the race if I'm in that position. I mean, I want to be in this championship for this final 4. Really a lot of competitive guys, and I just want to make a statement, really.
Yeah, and you've already hinted at it a little bit, but I mean, next week obviously going to be a must-win for you at Auto Club. What lengths do you feel you're willing to go to just to, clinch your spot into the final 4?
Well, I mean, I'm never a guy that makes chaos or cause chaos or wants bad blood in the water between two drivers. I'm not that type of guy, but
okay.
Well, I mean, even if I do something like that with the FTF rec score, it's going to be called on me and I'm going to get placed DLL. So, I mean, we just got to kind of, be in one of those positions where if people want to come in and pit with like 10 to go, I mean, we're going to have to be that oddball and stay out. I mean, we're just going to have to play our cards like that. It's very hard. I mean, like I said, Guess, Parker, Kevin King, myself, Blake. I mean, these are all former pro guys or coat guys. I mean, they all know what they're doing, so it's going to be hard to up one of them.
Absolutely. And again, a good momentum builder for you here today as we go into Auto Club. Best of luck to you there. And congratulations. Great run for you and the 58 team here tonight at Phoenix.
Thank you, guys.
That is your second place finisher and Michael P. Frisch. And we'll go back up to Sean, who's with Sebastian Marin.
Sebastian Marin, man, P3, great run overall tonight, and that number 048. So walk us through. You had a little bit of a roller coaster in this race. Kind of had to come from 25th towards the back of the field. How were you able to make your way through the chaos, especially the dog leg everyone was getting caught in, to get into the podium tonight?
Yeah, like you said, it was an up and down race. Hadn't raced the next gens in quite a bit, so I just came in kind of rusty last minute and bottled up the qualifying lap. I really thought I wasn't going to be that competitive, just judging from the few laps I did in practice. But I just kind of found my rhythm and slowly carved through the field. I was kind of following Guest, who started back there with me, just seeing what he was doing and trying to apply that to what I was doing. And by the time that first caution came out, I was 11th, I believe. And then after that, it was just trying to manage the race, when to save tire, when to push. That last stint, I was saving fuel to try and make it to the end. And a lot of people, I believe, were on a two-stop. And that yellow kind of saved. I would say saved because I still feel I would have gotten a top 10 result from it. But that yellow did help me secure this top 3 finish. And then at that point, everybody going all out, it's going to be so hard to pass with, dirty air and all that. And just staying on the bottom, hoping not to make any mistakes, hoping no yellow, because I knew if a yellow came out, then the people that took the wave around would take tires, and then it would, it could be chaos after that. So, just really happy with the result tonight after being absent for a few weeks. So it was a fun race. Very happy with the result that I got. Phoenix isn't really one of my better racetracks, so to get this result is really good for me and my confidence.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're mentioning tires there too. We talked to Parker, of course, and he kind of saw that he figured out that you don't want to slide the tires at all in turns 1 and 2, and that kind of helped him on the long run. You were talking about your long run speed there a little bit. Is that kind of what you were able to see too as the runs went on throughout this one?
Yes, for sure. I was pulling around with the brake bias because it was mainly loose on entry, and my other Nexus teammates, their bias was a lot lower than what I was running, which I was a little bit surprised. So I was running higher than what they were, and I kind of noticed that. Just I was real nice and gentle entering the corners, and what Parker was saying was correct. I mean, you do not want to slide the tires because if you do, you have to take it easy for like a lap or two, and even then you still damage the tire for the remainder of the run. So definitely just try to limit the sliding. I mean, that's just in general with this car. You just do not want to slide. It's just how this car is. So yeah, it was very difficult. That was my biggest challenge of the night, just being loose in.
Yeah, I don't want to call any of your teammates out, but Brandon Hawkin looked like he was having his hands full early on in the race, as we saw. So definitely looked like you had it figured out there and was able to kind of keep the tires on it. But yeah, heading to Auto Club next week. So we talked again with everybody. Everyone seems to love that track. I mean, I'm a big fan of that track too, but driving it and watching it. So how are you feeling going into that race? Unfortunately not racing for a championship, racing just for fun at this point, but are you included in one of the lists of drivers that love going to Auto Club whenever it comes around?
Oh, absolutely. I love Auto Club. It's a shame, what happened to it in real life. I love that track. I can't wait. I believe I got pole position last time we were there. Didn't really have much race pace though, but hopefully this time around I have a bit better understanding of this car, and hopefully I can get another top 10 run. I think would be a realistic result. So definitely looking forward to next week. I love that track. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to be chaos 4 or 5 wide. Who knows?
Oh, for sure. We're looking forward to it, and we hope you're looking forward to racing it as well. But yeah, back-to-back poles there would be pretty nice. Definitely not easy to do that. But Sebastian, man, excellent run here tonight, dude. Go enjoy your podium finish tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you put that thing back on the pole at Auto Club. And I'm gonna call it now. You did it once, you'll do it again.
I sure hope so. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sebastian. Good job tonight, sir. And with that, I think, Caleb, that'll wrap up our coverage here tonight. So definitely a good one from Phoenix. We got the best of both worlds strategy-wise, and overall, can't complain about this race. I mean, of course, Parker winning was, the not surprising at all, to be expected, but otherwise a fairly good and clean race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, again, had those long green flag runs, had some strategy sprinkled in there, and that late race caution kind of bunched everybody up. So kind of a best of both worlds scenario there for everybody. But overall, I mean, Parker White dominated it, and he'll try to keep up that momentum going into next week. I mean, looking around at some of the points scenarios, it's looking like it's going to be pretty much a must win for everybody that's below the line. Right now, you're 4 in the next round, or in the final round, I should say. Parker White, obviously, with his 2 wins. Falkingham, 97 points to the good. Kevin King, 82 to the good. Michael Guest, 79. Then you have Blake Reynolds, Michael P. Frisch, who did a great job closing down his gap from 202 to 112 today. Brendan Hawken is 135 below the cutoff. Wyatt Tinsley, in Justin Malillo's words, very scientific explanation here, he is a lot behind. So going to be an uphill battle for those 4 drivers as they try to punch their ticket to Atlanta next week at Auto Club. But 2 races left, and it's really crazy that the season's coming to a close already.
Yeah, pretty much must-win scenarios for everybody below the cut line. So Blake Reynolds, Michael Frisch, Brandon Hawken, and Wyatt Tinsley definitely have a lot of work to do next week at Auto Club. We will be here to bring you all the action right here on FTF GG. Try to get here 9 p.m. Eastern Time next Saturday, November 11th, to catch all the action. You won't want to miss it. Auto Club, definitely one of the better tracks to drive and watch a race on iRacing. But for us, that'll do it for our coverage here tonight of the Polish Victory Lap 300K at Phoenix. For Caleb Hoffman, Zach Johnson, I am Sean Butler. Congratulations to Parker White notching win 14 on the season. And we'll catch you guys right here at Auto Club on Saturday. Till then, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Good night.